So what if I told you that one of the most powerful solutions to our planet's big waste and soil problems could be found wiggling around in a compost bin? Today, we're going to dig into how school kids and a whole lot of worms are turning leftover lunches into what is basically environmental gold. But first, let's test your knowledge a little bit.
Okay, so have a look at these. We've got two truths and a lie about our wiggly friends. Take a second, read them over. Which one do you think is the fake? Go ahead, lock in your guess, and we'll circle back to the answer a little later on.
You know, that little quiz is fun, but the reason we're really talking about worms is because of two absolutely massive connected crises: the mountains of waste we create and the fragile state of the very soil right under our feet.
Let's put a number on that first problem. 835,000 tons. Just think about that for a second. That's the amount of food waste generated in Ireland alone every single year. It's a staggering figure, and believe me, it's a story that's repeating itself in countries all over the world.
So what you're looking at here is the waste hierarchy, and it shows that the best thing you can do is to prevent waste in the first place. And the absolute worst option? Yeah, just tossing it. But that's exactly where a ton of our food ends up, at the very bottom, in landfills. Globally, that food waste accounts for a staggering 8 to 10% of all greenhouse gas emissions. That's a huge environmental price to pay for something we just throw in the bin.
Okay, so here's the part that is really crucial to understand. This isn't just a waste problem. While we're busy creating these mountains of trash, we're also starving the very ground we depend on to survive.
33%. Let that sink in for a moment. That's how much of our planet's soil is already considered degraded. I mean, a third of the very ground we rely on to grow our food is in serious trouble.
And you can bet the consequences are serious. Degraded soil means lower crop yields, it drives up farming costs, and it makes our entire food system way more fragile. It's this crazy paradox, isn't it? We have a surplus of nutrients rotting away in landfills, while the soil we so desperately need is starving.
I know it sounds like this massive, overwhelming challenge, right? But what if the solution wasn't some giant, complicated industrial thing? What if it was small, wriggly, and just ridiculously good at its job? So, say hello to the heroes of our story. And let's be clear, these are not your average garden variety worms. Nope, we're talking about composting specialists like red wigglers. These little guys are absolute decomposition powerhouses. Get this, they can eat up to half their own body weight in organic stuff every single day.
The process that makes them famous is called vermicomposting. And it's actually super simple. You feed them organic waste, food scraps, paper, and they turn it into what's called worm castings. Seriously, people call this stuff black gold for your garden. It's an incredibly rich, all-natural fertilizer. It is nature's perfect recycling system, right?
And the benefits? Oh, they are huge. It's amazing because it tackles both of our big problems head-on. First, you're diverting all that waste from landfills, which cuts down on methane, a really nasty greenhouse gas. At the same time, you're creating that incredible fertilizer that brings life back to our soil. Plus, it's actually faster than regular composting, it's cheap to set up, and you can even do it on a small scale, right inside your home.
Okay, you've been patient. Time to solve that quiz from the beginning. The lie was number 3. See, not all earthworms are cut out for composting. Composting worms, like red wigglers, are surface feeders. They thrive on decaying organic matter. But the common worms you find in your garden, they're burrowers. They live way deeper down and eat soil. They have totally different jobs in the ecosystem. So, hey, if you guessed number 3, give yourself a pat on the back. You nailed it.
Okay, so all of this sounds fantastic in theory, right? But what does it actually look like when you put it into practice? Well, let's head over to a school in Ireland where some students and their teacher decided to put these worms to the ultimate test.
So this right here is Caliste Iosef Community School, and it's here that a teacher, Brian Kelleher, saw a problem: all the school's food waste. And he also saw a powerful wriggly solution. So he and his students decided to tackle it head-on with vermicomposting.
And you have to see how fast this whole idea just exploded. They started with some basic research in late 2023. A few months later, they had their first small system up and running. And now they're planning to scale up to a system that can process 5 tons of waste. This went from a simple classroom idea to a pretty serious operation in about a year. That's incredible.
And I just love this visual because you can really see the journey here. On the left, that's how it all started, just a few simple bins. But on the right, That's their custom-built system today, ready to handle waste on a way bigger scale. It's just real, tangible, hands-on progress.
And you know what the best part is? It's the students who are running the show. They're the ones out there managing the whole system. They even came up with a brand for it, the Worm Academy. How cool is that? They're not just reading about environmental science in a textbook, they are out there doing it.
The story of the Worm Academy is just so inspiring, mostly because it proves that this isn't some super complex, high-tech solution that's out of reach for most of us. It is absolutely something almost anyone can do, anywhere. So let's break it down. How could you start your very own?
Okay, so getting started is way simpler than you might think. First, you just need a container. A basic plastic tub works perfectly. Then, you drill a few holes for air and drainage. After that, you add some bedding. Shredded cardboard is great, and get it nice and moist, kind of like a damp sponge. And finally, you add your worms. That's literally it. You've just built a worm farm, ready to turn your kitchen scraps into amazing fertilizer.
And if you need any more convincing, Brian Kelleher, the teacher who started the school project, summed it up perfectly. He said it's low cost, low maintenance, fun, and interactive. See, this isn't some big chore. It's a really fascinating, hands-on way to connect with the cycle of our food and actually make a difference you can see.
So here we are, right back where we started, looking at a huge problem in a tiny, tiny solution. You know, we often think that global crises need these massive, complicated answers. But what if a really powerful solution is already sitting in our kitchens, just waiting to be transformed by nature's most efficient little recyclers? What if it's right there, in the scraps from your next